A couple becomes alarmed when their usually gentle cat suddenly turns aggressive, especially toward their nanny, who insists the cat has been attacking her. Worried for their baby's safety, they begin to consider the heartbreaking possibility of giving up their beloved pet. But everything changes when they uncover the real reason behind the cat's strange behavior. Without hesitation, they call the police. Jason felt uneasy as he powered on the first camera. His wife, Emma, stood nervously beside him. They both felt guilty for setting up surveillance, but they were desperate to understand what was happening. Milo, their cat, had become completely unrecognizable. They couldn't figure out why she had changed so drastically, and they couldn't risk their baby getting hurt. "I hate that we're doing this," Emma whispered. "But Hannah's been complaining. For months. What else can we do?" The only option left was to install cameras throughout the house to see what Hannah, their nanny, was experiencing each day. They hated spying on her, but they felt like they had no choice. As footage of Hannah and the cat appeared, Jason turned up the volume. What they saw made them both freeze in shock. The pieces fell into place instantly, and they understood why Milo was so drawn to the baby. Emma watched in horror, guilt welling in her chest. She hadn't expected to feel responsible for what was unfolding on screen. It was terrifying, and they didn't hesitate to contact the police. From the outside, Jason and Emma's life looked ideal. They'd met after college, landed great jobs, and were doing well in their careers. Recently married, everything seemed perfect, except they hadn't figured out how to handle starting a family. Emma didn't want to give up her career to be a full-time mom, and they talked about it often. "I've worked too hard to give this up," she told Jason one evening. "I don't think you understand how difficult this is for me." The only compromise she could live with was working part-time, so she could still advance in her profession while raising their child. But there was a problem. They didn't have anyone to care for the baby while they worked. Their parents were still working and couldn't help. They were forced to figure things out sooner than expected when Emma started feeling sick. She thought it was just a passing bug, but after several weeks of constant fatigue, she took a pregnancy test. Her hands shook as she waited. When the result appeared, 2 pink lines, her heart pounded. She didn't feel ready to be a mom. When she told Jason, he was overjoyed, and his reaction calmed some of her fears. But now there was a new urgency. They needed childcare. Their cat, Milo, was the first to sense the change. The couple had adopted her years earlier, and she had always been the sweetest, most loving companion. Even before Emma began to show, Milo would nuzzle her belly affectionately. As her baby bump grew, the cat grew even more attentive, curling up in Emma's lap and resting her head gently on her stomach. "Look at her," Emma beamed. "She already loves the baby." She was thrilled at the idea that her child and cat might share such a deep bond. Emma didn't tell many people she planned to return to work part-time. Her family wouldn't understand what her career meant to her, but the stress weighed on her, and 2 months before her due date, she confided in her best friend. Although her boss had approved reduced hours, she still hadn't found anyone to look after the baby. To her surprise, her friend had a solution. A family friend's daughter, Hannah, was looking for nanny work. Emma called her right away and arranged an interview, but when she told Jason, he frowned. "A stranger in our home taking care of our baby?" he asked, uneasy. Emma was frustrated. He had refused to cut back his own hours. She stormed off to their room, Milo at her heels. The cat climbed onto the bed and nestled against Emma's belly, purring as if to soothe her. Later, Jason apologized. "You're right," he said softly. "It's unfair of me to expect you to give up your job if I'm not willing to do the same. If you think hiring a nanny is the best option, I trust you." Emma met Hannah soon after and asked plenty of questions. Hannah had excellent answers, previous childcare experience, and even offered to cook and clean. "Kids thrive with love and routine," she said, "and I'm happy to help around the house." Emma arranged a trial period and asked for references. Hannah gave 2 phone numbers, but oddly, Emma couldn't reach either. Still, when Emma went into labor 3 weeks early, she didn't have time to dwell on her concerns. "I have good Instincts, she told herself. Hannah seems genuine. We can trust her. Emma liked to believe she had strong intuition. Hannah had been sweet, enthusiastic, and very helpful. So, when Emma returned from the hospital with baby Sophie, she texted Hannah and invited her to start the following week. Hannah responded quickly, saying she couldn't wait to meet Sophie. Everything felt perfect. Milo adored Sophie. The cat curled up beside the crib, lay on Emma's lap as she held the baby, and rarely left the infant's side. Wherever Sophie went, Milo followed. Emma felt reassured watching the two of them bond. But things shifted the day Hannah arrived. Normally, Milo tolerated strangers well, but when Hannah entered their home, the cat bolted. Emma chalked it up. Distress. She'll get used to the change, she said. Hannah laughed it off. Cats usually hate me. Must be the scent of my dogs, she joked. She'll warm up eventually. And Hannah quickly proved herself. Emma didn't interfere much, wanting to see how she handled things. Within a week, she was impressed. Hannah cared for Sophie beautifully, and the house was spotless, polite, and respectful. She seemed like a perfect fit. Emma made up her mind. Hannah had the job. On her first day back at work, Emma felt nervous. But Sophie was asleep in her crib. Milo curled up close, just like always. At least her daughter had a little guardian. Still, Milo had been acting even more attached since Hannah's arrival. She wouldn't leave Sophie's side, especially when Hannah was near. Emma figured it would pass. But just a few hours into her workday, her phone rang. It was Hannah. "Mrs. Wilson, I hate to bother you, but Milo scratched me pretty badly." She insisted Emma didn't need to come home, saying it wasn't serious, but she sounded shaken. According to her, the cat had hissed and attacked when she reached into Sophie's crib. Emma was shocked. Milo had never behaved like that. Was the cat becoming dangerous? The idea of keeping Milo away from Sophie broke her heart, but she couldn't risk her daughter's safety. That evening, Emma apologized repeatedly to Hannah, who brushed it off, saying she was used to getting scratched by her dogs. But as the days passed, Milo's aggression worsened. Jason and Emma were confused and heartbroken. They adored their cat. But what if she really was a threat to their baby? Whenever Hannah was around, Milo became hostile, and if they separated her from Sophie, she would cry and pace, clearly distressed. No one knew what to do. But that first incident was only the beginning. Soon, Emma was getting near weekly updates about Milo scratching the nanny. "Don't know what to do anymore," Emma sobbed one night. "I can't stand the thought of giving up Milo." But what choice do we have? One evening, Emma sat on the couch and burst into tears. The thought of giving up Milo felt unbearable. But what choice did they have? Whenever Emma was home, Milo was calm, gentle, and affectionate, which made her doubts about the situation creep in. Yet the moment Hannah entered the house, Milo's behavior would shift dramatically. Emma couldn't ignore the nanny's reports, especially after seeing the scratch marks with her own eyes. It didn't make sense. How could the same loving cat become aggressive only around one person? Jason held his wife close, trying to soothe her when an idea came to him. It wasn't a perfect solution, but it might give them answers. He, too, was struggling to accept that their sweet Milo had turned violent, and he hated the thought of losing her. "What if we install cameras?" he suggested. "We need to know what's really happening when we're not here." Emma was shocked by the idea. "We can't spy on our nanny without telling her," she protested. But Jason calmly explained that unless they knew the truth, Milo might have to be given away. It was either record what happened or send their beloved pet to a shelter. Emma was torn, but eventually, she agreed. They would review the footage privately, and if nothing suspicious showed up, they'd delete everything. She still felt uneasy, not just about recording Hannah, but also about seeing evidence that Milo had really changed. The following day, Jason brought home 2 small hidden cameras. One would watch the living room, and the other would keep an eye on Sophie's crib. They hoped Hannah wouldn't notice because explaining would be awkward. That morning, they left for work feeling anxious. As soon as Hannah left in the evening, they rushed to Jason's laptop to review the footage. They expected to see Milo being aggressive, What they saw instead shocked them to their core. As Hannah entered the living room, she pulled out her phone and answered a call. Her sweet demeanor disappeared. Her voice dripped with sarcasm as she laughed and cursed. "You wouldn't believe how gullible this woman is," she said. "I barely do anything. I wipe down some counters before she gets home, and she thinks I'm the best nanny ever." The couple listened in stunned silence. The young woman they thought was perfect had been mocking them behind their backs. Then, Hannah began opening drawers and cabinets, slipping money and small valuables into her bag. Milo entered the room, watching her closely. When the cat began hissing, Hannah growled, "Get away from me, you stupid cat," and kicked her aside. Jason and Emma stared at the screen, horrified, but the worst part was yet to come. Jason switched to the footage from Sophie's room. Their daughter was crying softly, with Milo curled next to her, gently nuzzling her arm. Then Hannah stormed in, cursing and scowling. "Shut up, will you?" she barked at the baby. "I'm trying to watch my show." As she reached into the crib, Milo stood between the nanny and Sophie, growling and puffing up. When Hannah tried to push past, Milo swiped her paw across the nanny's arm. That's when they realized Milo hadn't been attacking Hannah for no reason. She was defending Sophie. Tears welled in Emma's eyes as guilt washed over her. This nanny, her solution to balancing work and motherhood, wasn't just lazy and dishonest. She was emotionally abusive and dangerous. If they hadn't seen it for themselves, they would have believed Hannah's lies and gotten rid of the one creature who had actually been protecting their daughter. "How didn't we see it?" Emma whispered. The pain in her voice was clear. Milo had only been trying to protect Sophie from someone she instinctively knew wasn't safe. They had almost punished her for that. Jason grabbed his phone with trembling hands and called the police. "We need to report a case of abuse," he said with conviction. The next day, Hannah was gone. Emma took emergency leave from work and stayed home, holding her daughter and Milo close. Sunlight streamed through the windows, casting a golden glow over the three of them. The footage had been handed over to the authorities. Hannah was now being questioned, and the items she stole were being collected as evidence. Jason's grandfather's antique watch was among them, but neither he nor Emma cared. What truly mattered was that Sophie was safe, all thanks to Milo. "I feel awful," Emma said quietly, running her fingers through the cat's fur as Milo purred against her. She was trying to protect Sophie this entire time, and we almost threw her away for it. Jason could see how much pain Emma was in, but he blamed himself too. Had he compromised earlier, they might never have needed a nanny. That night he held Emma and kissed Sophie's forehead. "I've reduced my hours," he told her. "On the days you go to work, I'll stay home with Sophie." He glanced at Milo, sleeping peacefully beside their daughter, one protective paw resting gently on the baby's side. He scratched behind Milo's ears and silently thanked her for her loyalty and courage. With Milo by Sophie's side, the couple now felt certain that their little girl would always be safe. Did you enjoy this story? Who would you trust more? A loyal pet acting out of character, or a person who always seems polite on the surface? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Sometimes, when a faithful animal dislikes someone, it's not just a coincidence, it might be a warning. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a wonderful day.